Here. I want to, in the next few video episodes that I make, I want to begin talking about the different masks that we can wear. I know there's probably at least 4 or 5. I'm not sure how many this is going to turn into. But today I'm going to start with the mask of perfection. And the mask of perfection is when we go around with a smile on our face and we pretend that everything is just perfect, no problems in life. People say, "Oh, how you doing? Hey, everything's going great." And I know that, we should focus on having a positive attitude and, glass is half full. All of these positive things, yes, our attitude plays a lot into it, but when we get to that point where we're crossing the line and everything's perfect all the time, which isn't reality, then we need to start looking and asking ourselves, are we wearing a mask of perfection? So let me give you just a couple of examples how this can show up, so you can maybe recognize or not recognize whether you wear this mask or not. So let's start with church. This is a really good one. We go into church and, "Hey, sister, how is it going? Everything's good. Praise the Lord. I'm blessed and highly favored and all this." And I am blessed, but not all the time. Not all the time do I feel this way. But we go in and we've got to put on the holy happy face, and then the altar call comes. And the internal struggle begins. Oh my gosh, should I go up there? Should I let them know something's wrong? If I do, I'm going to have to tell them, and then we're going to have to talk to God about it. Can I do that? Okay, if you guys have ever had that struggle and haven't gotten your tail down to the altar when something's bothering you, you're having that kind of internal dialogue, you might ask, am I wearing the mask of perfection at church? That's just an example, okay? Next place is, let's talk about at the workplace. I'm going to take this to from the perspective of the leader, because as a leader, how are you modeling that it's okay to talk about different issues within the organization? Is everything perfect in the organization, but it's really not? So you as the leader will model, and I'm not saying that you're laying all of your stuff out for everyone, but there are times, and you'll know instinctively when you should be doing this or when you shouldn't. But there are times when you're vulnerable, either to to your teams about what's going on within the organization, outside of the organization that could be impacting what's happening. A project maybe isn't going quite as it tracked, or you just had this big important meeting to get some business or something, and you actually take a look at it and look at, okay, well, those guys are, instead of saying those guys, we just don't want to do business with them, we got over there and they didn't know this, and they start pointing fingers, just take a look. Is there anything that we could have done better or different? How are you modeling this type of behavior for your people so that they can do the same thing, so that you can really be growing together, not only as an organization. I mean, because when you're growing together personally and professionally, then of course the business is going to grow. So you can't act like things are perfect all the time in your organization. And then thirdly, let's do one more example. Okay, how about in the family? Some families talk about everything, some talk about it to death, but there are a lot of families that don't talk about much at all. They just pretend like everything's okay, and the big elephant in the room doesn't get spoken about. That was actually the family that I grew up in. We didn't talk about stuff. And so I have to be super intentional to go there with people. Or maybe you're talking to one of your best friends, something's going on, but you only tell them like this much of the story, not the whole story, because you're worried about how that they might judge you, or how you might look. These are the ways that the mask of perfection shows up. So I'm not saying everybody does this. I just want you to be open to the consideration and ask yourself, some questions. This is how we grow. We start becoming more aware. How do we become more aware? We start asking ourselves questions. So if this is an area where, perhaps you've been pretending, holding back, or not, being all the way vulnerable, and that you don't do this with just anybody, but just, ask in your heart of hearts, and take it to God if you need to ask if this is something that you've been doing. I honestly, I was doing it for so long because we didn't talk about problems within my household when we were growing up, that I didn't realize that I was doing it. So sometimes, we need someone else to maybe help us become aware. And that's why I'm just saying, consider the possibility. Not saying that you're wearing the mask, just consider the possibility and ask those questions and be open to an honest answer. And if you're not, hey, more power to you. But if you are, when I get through the series of the different masks, we'll talk about some of the things that you can begin doing to get rid of the masks. All right, enjoy, everyone.